Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Monday night with the Numb Thumbs Racing League. I'm your host, Mark Murphy. Joined alongside me is Kendale Paul, and tonight we take a blast from the past. We are at the old configuration of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is the 1997 version of Atlanta. It is still the same 1.54 miles, but it is very much different. In Kendale, we're going to see a hot track. We're going to see some sliding around. Tell the fans what they can expect tonight.
Yeah, it's a very different racetrack than the one that we know of today. Like you said, the old configuration. Now the new one is the high banks, where you can go full bore, pedal to the metal, and not worry about tires necessarily. But this racetrack, you got to 100% worry about the tires because this thing acts like a cheese grater on those Goodyear tires. So it's going to be something that they're going to have to manage throughout the race, and it's a very slick racetrack as well. So got to manage that throttle input as well.
Absolutely do. This is old. It is bumpy. This facility originally opened in 1960 as a much different racetrack. Originally, this was a 1.5 mile true oval. So if race fans out there want to think of the way Homestead is configured now, Atlanta very similar to that, except with higher banking. The corners were a bit longer, but same kind of a general feel. And at old Atlanta, because we're at old Atlanta, but at old Atlanta, it was said that the corners were longer than the straightaways, and so you would see cars burn up tires. You would see them burn up rear ends. It was a very difficult track mechanically, but that lasted until 1997. During its history, it passed through several different owners. It was run for the most part. In its early days by two local Atlanta businessmen, Stacy Cotton and Walter Nix. If you've been a part of our broadcast before, you will know that I've talked about a company called American Raceways, Inc. This speedway was part of that at one point, and then it passed to L.G. DeWitt, who also owned Rockingham before it was purchased by Bruton Smith of Speedway Motorsports fame in 1990. And it stayed pretty much the same. It stayed pretty much its original configuration until 1997. In 1997, it was configured into a quad oval, very similar to the way Charlotte is now. The quad oval also flipped the racetrack. And so I came here as a young boy in 1991, 9 years old, and where we sat is now the old main grandstand is where the backstretch is now. That is all gone, of course. Weather and time have taken care of that part of the facility. But the old backstretch, you can kind of see it. The backstretch now, you can kind of see it. That used to be the old main straight. It was redone into this configuration, like I said, in 1997. 24 degrees of banking in the corners, 24 in the corners, 5 degrees in the turns. It is a little bit longer than Charlotte at 1.5 miles. And because it retains the original corner shape for the true oval, it is much, much, much faster. The other cool thing about this track, and Kendale kind of alluded to it, is that it is old and it is bumpy. That a lot of people don't also realize Atlanta is in a very mountainous region. It's basically in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. And so it is paved with the same kind of material that you find at Darlington and Rockingham. It is very gritty. This track was also never repaved. And so from 1997 to 2021, you had exactly the same pavement down on this facility. And it got very rough. It got very worn out. The absolute track record here, and I mentioned this is much faster than Charlotte, Kendale. You care to take a stab at the absolute track record at Atlanta? Legacy Atlanta?
What, a 30-second lap?
Absolute track record.
Absolute. I wouldn't have a clue then.
Billy Boat, 1998 in a Dallara IR7. Remember, they had a couple of IndyCar races here in the IRL era. 24,732, 224.163. The NASCAR track record was set by Kyle Larson in 2017, 30.085. The Xfinity track record was just a few ticks of the watch slower. Martin Truex, 30.854. That was also that same year. This track also at one point included a 2.54-mile road course. The track record for that is held by Juan Manuel Fangio II in a Dan Gurney Eagle Mark III, 1993, 1 minute 13.514. And you can kind of see, if you look down there, the remnants of the old Roval configuration here. It is no longer available for use, but there is sort of a road course facility. You can kind of see one of the chicanes there as they go through 1 and 2. Or 3 and 4, I believe that is. But you can kind of see one of the chicanes. So that is a very quick history of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. For last week's results and what we can expect today, I give you to the ever much more competent voice of Kendall Paul. Kendall, tell us what we saw last week.
Yeah, last week was a crazy beginning to all the start of the playoffs. We had caution after a caution. We even seen cars flipping down the front straightaway. But Matt Sizzler able to get the job done there, get the win, be able to move on to the round of 15. And to note, that was his first career win in the NTRL Xfinity Series. So a big one for him and a big momentous one for him in the playoffs. We'll see if he can continue that momentum tonight. But we go race number 2 in the round number 20 here tonight here at Atlanta.
That's right. Caleb Sisk sat on the pole. Sizzler had the fastest lap. Sisk led most of the race, but Matt Sizzler was there to pick it up at the end. Sean Roberts was the hard charger. We did have 9 cautions, including one car get upside down. But that leads us to the playoffs. And so Caleb Sisk, Matt Sizzler tied on 51 points apiece. Dylan Bryant, Sean Roberts at 46. Joseph Bennett rounds out your top 5. He's got 44. Chris Gones, Joshua Moore, Michael Bennett, Jesse Redding, Nick Biddy, Seth Hawley, Benjamin McKinnon, Paul Durkee, Thomas Welch, Alfie Sharon Jr. Now that's a name to watch. Alfie Sharon Jr. was among the points leaders for the regular season. Had a bad week last week at Charlotte. He's looking to bounce back. Paul Ferdiani, Justin Lawson round out the points scorers from last week. Scott Milner, Anthony Williams, and Derek Welch did not participate in the Charlotte race. And that brings us to more or less to qualifying. Right now, we've got 2 minutes and 33 seconds left in qualifying. Michael Bennett, currently your pole sitter, 171, 479. He'll be joined provisionally on the front row by Joshua Moore. Sizzler, Sisk, Biddy, Bryant, Thomas Welch. There are some serious bidders that are still on pit road, though. Let's see if we can't watch Matt Sizzler. There you see the 93 Birdie's Toyota machine. Coming off of turn 4. He's going to start lap 1. Now, this is going to be a first lap. Is it a first lap queue here?
I would think so, just because of your tire wear, and I'm trying to look and see at the previous guys. The last couple of guys, actually, it's going to be second lap fast. All of them kind of averaging out at 31.9, and then their second lap is faster normally throughout the field. So I was wrong. A second lap qualifying for these drivers out here tonight.
We would say that Sizzler would be one of the contenders for the pole position, at least a top 5 start, but definitely a threat for the front row. First lap 170, 454 for the Michigan native. You don't go all the way down to the white line here through 1 and 2. You do want to kind of drill the middle. It seems to be the fastest way around. It is very bumpy, especially on the bottom in 1 and 2. We're getting ready to run Indy cars here in the Open Series, and I can vouch that bottom is very bumpy, and it does get loose. Coming off of turn 4, Matt Sizzler is going to park the Birdies machine in 4th place, 171.256. Good run for Sizzler. Let's go back and take a look at Chris Klein. He is finishing his run. Got about 25 seconds, give or take, left. Here's Chris Klein. His first lap, 165.316. and he is not going to go for number 2. So Klein provisionally the final starter. You do have Sisk, Biddy, Harrod, Bryant, and Welch that are in the session. They have not taken time, and with 3 seconds remaining, I do not believe they are going to get time. And they indeed do not. So we do have a starting field here for the Prospec Custom Accessories Atlanta 180. On the pole, Michael Bennett, 171, 479. I think we've got a bit of an issue here. Michael Bennett, 171, 479 is your pole sitter. Joshua Moore is going to be second, 171, 393. Second row, Chris Goins and Matt Sizzler. They'll be third and fourth. Jesse Redding is going to start fifth. Paul Ferdiani will join him in row 3. Paul Durkee is going to roll 7th. Mike Corvo will be 8th. He'll be looking to employ some strategy tonight. Alfie Sharon Jr. is 9th. And Anthony Williams will round out the top 10 on the grid. Starting 11th, Sean Roberts. 12th, Ryan Pisacco. 13th, Tom Barish. 14th, Benjamin McKinnon. 15th, Brandon Coleman. 16th, Scott Milner. 17th, Joseph Bennett. 18th, Chris Klein. Rounding out the top 20, no time for Caleb Sisk or Thomas Welch. Likewise, no time for Skylar Harrod, Nick Biddy, or Dylan Bryant. They will all come from the rear. We see our starting grid beginning to form here.
Interesting call for some of these drivers to not take time. I believe the reason why some of them are not taking time is into line penalties that are being handed out right now by Race Control from last week's events for arrangement of reasons. So we'll see a couple of these drivers go to the end of the longest line here once we get the field to start pacing around this 1.5 mile racetrack.
Yeah, and you do have those penalties in a league environment. You also have to worry about tire strategy here tonight, Kendale. There are a very limited number of Goodyears available to these guys, and to be fair, you're going to want tires every time the yellow flies, because at this track especially, the tires wear out under caution, it seems like.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like you said, limited tire set. They only have 2 sets of Goodyear tires down the pit lane, so very strategy-like racing going to be happening tonight. And also, there's only, 60% fuel on these race cars that they can only fill up to, so that brings us to around 45 to 50 laps. 50 plus 50 makes 100 laps, so
can I get an
20,
EOM
so we're
of the
20 short. So if they make it a 3-stop race, they're going to have to double stint tires. If they can somehow find out to make it 2 stops, they can take tires every single pit stop, but definitely something you have to manage throughout the whole entire race, like a lot of other factors in this race.
Absolutely. I apologize to everybody. I had thought I'd double check that, but we do not want the radio to come through on the broadcast. That can be that can be an interesting situation. The pace car is going to duck on off.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out. We are underway from Atlanta.
Michael Bennett gets the race lead, but a lot of jumbling on behind him. Matt Sizzler has trouble in the restart. He spins the tires. He's trying to regain, but got a battle for the lead. Joshua Moore on top of Michael Bennett off turn number 2.
Coming down the backstretch now, Michael Bennett is going to fall in behind Joshua Moore. So Moore is going to lead it early. Chris Goins goes to third. Jesse Redding fourth. Paul Durkee fifth as we head toward the front straight to complete lap 1.
Trouble in turn number 4. One car spinning off the banking. That's going to be Jesse Redding. He saves that Ford Mustang. He's going to win to the back of the field. Major bobble and almost a tire spin for that 21 machine. He's going to go all the way back to the 22nd spot.
Yeah, it just kind of turned loose with him. You're watching it here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. The 21 of Jesse Redding. He got it loose going through turns 3 and 4. He saved the automobile. Did a good job not bringing it down pit lane, and he also did a really good job not to get that car in the grass. But a tough break for Jesse Redding. He's going to go all the way to the back. Now 23rd in the running order.
While that's all happening, Chris Goins takes a spot from Michael Bennett, move Chris Goins up to second. While also that's all happening, Joshua Moore is deciding to check out from the race lead, putting himself 1.3 seconds in front of Chris Goins now as he rockets ships into turn number 4.
Yeah, Joshua Moore is the fast man early. He's got the purple lap, 168.609. Much, much, much quicker than everybody else on the speedway. Although Alfie Sharon Jr. just grabs the fast lap, 169.474. Alfie Sharon Jr. is coming up quick as well. He is now 5th.
Yeah, in that 5th spot, working and looking for 4th here to take it away from Paul Durkee and Michael Bennett. He's going to take the look to the inside. They're going to be side by side, turn number 3 and 4 for the 4th spot. Will he have enough to get around him in turn number 4? They're going to be equal off of turn number 4.
Alfie Sharon Jr. does have the preferred line on the low line, and that, I believe, is a strategic move for Michael Bennett. He basically appeared to just lift off the throttle and said, "You go ahead, young man. You can have that spot." Put Alfie Sharon Jr. to 4th with a fast lap. Michael Bennett back to 5th, and Alfie Sharon Jr. is not done. He is hunting down Paul Durkee, and in the background, you've got Matt Sizzler, last week's winner. He is currently 6th, looking for 5th.
Yeah, they're all working, and you got to wonder, are they using up those Goodyear tires to pass these guys? They're definitely using the Goodyear tires, but how much is the question? As he's going to take, Matt Sizzler's going to take a look at the inside of Michael Bennett. He's not going to put the pressure on him to make that pass for the 5th spot quite yet, but be interesting to watch and see Matt Sizzler maybe trying to tone it down a little bit to save some of that Goodyear tires as he only have 2 sets. But Alfred Sharon Jr. going to ride just right behind Paul Durkee. He might be looking for.
Yeah, now you can burn those tires up really, really quick here. Give a shout out to Derek Welch. He just checked in the chat. Derek, stuck at work, so life as it does will intervene. Alfie Sharon Jr. He's going to intervene in the battle for 3rd. Just drive right underneath Paul Durkee, put Alfie to 3rd, put Paul Durkee back to 4th. Alfie Sharon Jr. has grabbed the fast lap one more time, and he'll set sail after Chris Goins in 2nd. But shame that Derek's stuck at work. We do look forward to seeing him on the track next week.
You got to make that money somehow. So glad to see you out in the chat there, Derek Welch. Hopefully you're enjoying the broadcast as Alfie Sharon Jr. Starts to pull away from Paul Durkee and Joshua Moore now. He doesn't have quite as big as a lead, but he's still rolling that top side here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Using a different line than everyone else. Chris Goins, he uses the middle to bottom line of the racetrack. So it looks like he's starting to catch that 18 machine here coming off turn number 4.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep it right here though, because we've still got Matt Sizzler all over the rear deck lid of Michael Bennett. We'll go show the disparity in line between Joshua Moore and Chris Goins here in just a little bit. But this is by far the best battle on the speedway. Matt Sizzler is 6th. He wants 5th from Michael Bennett. And you can see the 93 Birdie's Toyota is wiggling all up and down the speedway. He is hunting and trying desperately to get past Michael Bennett. And you got to wonder, has he run the good off the tires already? I can tell you, because we did a lot of testing here for the IndyCar Open race that is running right now. For whatever reason, iRacing gave us the Indianapolis qualifying boost for that event. And so we're doing 237 miles an hour on our own into turn 1. The tires are good for about 15 laps. And then you really have to start to pedal. And that's in a car that weighs half as much. The tires are twice as wide, and it makes about 10 times the downforce as these cars do. And so while these are not as fast, the forces exerted on the tread and on the sidewalls of the rubber are pretty similar. And it is very easy to cook them. You finally see Matt Sizzler make the move. Michael Bennett going to fall in line here. Going to be careful. Don't get loose coming off that corner. But Sizzler has it. So let's cut back to the lead, and we'll show you the battle for the lead. Chris Goins has caught Joshua Moore, and you are right. Josh Moore is running a good groove to a groove and a half higher than everybody else on the speedway. Caution's out. Oh no, Jesse Redding and Brandon Coleman have come to grief. That is at the entrance of turn number 3. And let's go to the replay machine here. Looks like they just kind of came together going down the main straight. Brandon Coleman got in the outside wall, bounced down back in front of Jesse Redding, and both take hard impacts into the inside retaining wall, just sneaking through there. That's Mike Corvu. But those guys are going to most certainly be coming to pit lane so that they can effect their fast repair. We are 12 laps into a scheduled 120 here at Atlanta.
And with that wreck, that's a very common thing you see with the mile-and-a-half circuits, even like Kansas and Charlotte, is a driver gets that huge run and the guy in front of him doesn't have as much as a run, and you kind of underestimate that run, and you just get a little bit in contact. So it's a very easy mistake to do. I mean, heck, I've done it before as well at the Kansas Speedway in the trucks. So tough break for those two drivers, but they'll get their, like you said, they'll get their fast repair and pit stops are underway. Probably top off on Sunoco Racing Fuel.
Yeah, I was going to say, Paul Durkee and Benjamin McKinnon did stay out. Joshua Moore and the rest of the field came in. I do not see anybody taking 4 fresh tires, so the tires are going to remain on these cars, and that's going to be a pretty tricky. It's going to be a pretty tricky thing to get these things back up to speed once Barney waves the green flag again. These cars very difficult to launch on used tires, especially at a track that's gritty and sandpapery and doesn't have a lot of grip anyway, such as this one. It can be really difficult. None of these drivers did take tires. Fast repairs have been effected for Coleman and Redding. Jesse Redding still under tow. I believe he'll get his fast repair once his car reaches pit lane, and Mike Corvo has disconnected from the event.
Oh.
So once again, go ahead.
I was going to say, I liked the call from Benjamin McKinnon, one of those drivers that decided to stay out. He went from 18th previous to the caution, now going to restart second, so he's gained a full on his spots by just staying out. Track position can be key in these races, so I really like the call from Benjamin McKinnon. Let's see what he can do with it.
Yeah, you know, I kind of do too, and this is one of those deals where, Kendale, if you stay out, you get that track position and you get up front, everybody's on old tires. Now, you might not be able to hold back Joshua Moore, Chris Goins, Alfie Sharon Jr., Matt Sisler. Those guys are fast, and they have been bullet fast for the entire practice and qualifying session here. But if you're down there and you're running 15th to 20th and you can do this move here, you might not stay up in the lead, but you're probably going to be able to stay up in the top 10.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's going to be a net gain for Benjamin McKinnon as long as he doesn't make a mistake. I firmly believe and like you said, he can be up to the top 10 as pace car lights are away, and we're coming back to the Geico restart zone.
Absolutely. 14 laps complete, looking to get the green flag at 15 of 120. Paul Durkee and Benjamin McKinnon are your front row. Barney has the green flag in the air.
Green flag, green flag.
There it is. Racing resumes here at Atlanta as they come to the line to get lap 15 of 150.
With trouble for the leader, Paul Durkee spins the Goodyear tires on the restart. That gives Joshua Moore the option to take the top side, dial up the lane, and get the run around Paul Durkee, put Joshua Moore back up into the first spot. Paul Durkee falls back to second. Now Richard from 5th to 3rd on the restart, but Michael Bennett going to say, wait a minute, sir, we're going to battle this out for 3rd.
Michael Bennett on the bottom. Alfie Sharon Jr. is on the top, and he's kind of got a pick there in Paul Durkee. Not that Durkee is doing anything wrong, but Paul Durkee has not been up in the front of this thing for the balance of the event. Now Alfie Sharon Jr. is going to go to the top. That'll leave Michael Bennett Jr. on the bottom. Still trying to work around the car of Paul Durkee that did not stop. Benjamin McKinnon off the restart spun the tires. He is already back to 8th position. Now, something I didn't think about and probably should say is one of the ways that you can adjust on these cars, because it's a fixed setup, so you can't. There's no wedge or track bar, air pressure. We don't have any of those things. But one of the adjustments that you do have available to you, Kendale, is fuel.
Yeah, for sure, and the weight on the race car is a little bit of contact between Paul Durkeek, I believe that was yeah. And now Sharon Jr., he's going to hit the outside retaining wall just a little bit. He's going to fall back into the fourth spot, move Sharon Jr. and Michael Bennett up one spot. But yeah, the weight can dramatically adjust the race car. So something to keep in mind as well. It's not just only for how long you can make it, but also the comfort of your race car.
Yeah, so when Kendall's talking about weight, a gallon of gasoline weighs roughly 2.5 pounds in one of these cars. Thankfully, it's not alcohol. That weighs almost 5 pounds a gallon. But when you're doing a deal, like Paul Durkee or Benjamin McKinnon, and you don't quite like the handling of your race car, it might be a little bit too tight or a little bit too much understeer, as we would say in the open wheel world, to your liking. Stay out on fuel. These guys that came and got fuel, the rear of their cars are going to be 10 pounds heavier. Well, what does that mean? It means the front end is going to be raised up off the ground just that much more. It's going to make them plow toward the fence just that much more. If you wanted to loosen your car up, cool the tires off and give that baby some light fuel. And so, that could be key. It's also going to make them handle a little bit better. The other thing is that Benjamin McKinnon and Paul Durkee, and Durkee seems to have stabilized now in about fifth. Without that extra 5 to 10 pounds in the automobile, Kendall, the tires aren't going to burn up quite as fast.
Yeah, man, I guess the only other thing on the flip side of the coin is those top four can run a little bit longer. But that's just when we all come down to fuel strategy, and I believe they pitted on lap 13 or so that extends their run to a lap around 60 or so they can make it on 2,000 definitely. That is something to kind of watch out for, because that is your biggest time killer, is the pit lane.
Could they be thinking potentially, if they could make it to 60, thinking about one stop with another caution, perhaps?
Very well could be, because that would put them at 60, and if they get a caution at 60, yeah, that will be their probably most likely their final stop, because you can very easily save that fuel under the caution flag and top off on the rest of the racing fuel. And it might require some saving. I'm not quite for sure, just because I haven't raced Atlanta old for I don't know how long it's been.
It would seem to me that you would have to save. I mean, we thought coming in here that 45 to 50, maybe 55 if you hyper save it. But certainly right here, if you stopped your 10 laps into your current run, if you're able to go 50 laps from lap 13, that's going to put you at 63. That means that you'd only have to do 57, Kendall. Somebody's going to try it.
Oh, 100% for sure. And I mean, our poor guy Mike Caribou, the guy that we look to make those strategy calls, I don't know if he's back on the race. He is back on the racetrack, but sadly 4 laps down. But definitely one of these guys that are towards the back, or maybe can't win it on speed. Like I've always said, you can't win on speed, win it on strategy. So we're gonna definitely want to see someone make that move. The big question is who.
And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to say right now, if Dale Earnhardt Jr., Harry Gant, or Richard Petty are out there watching this race, they would stand up and applaud at the line Joshua Moore has taken on the exit of these corners. As soon as I said that, he went back down to the middle, but he has been right around the rim of the speedway. He's making out like Kyle Larson around here for quite a few laps. That's another way you can adjust your car. If it's kind of loose, take it up to the top of the speedway. That'll tighten her up just a little bit. And Joshua Moore doing exactly that. You see him there right up against the outside wall in turns 1 and 2. We have a battle for third, by the way. That's Michael Bennett. He was going after Alfie Sharon Jr. We will keep an eye on the battle for the lead, though. Joshua Moore and Chris Gones about to have at it.
Yeah, they are, and that lead has shrunk down to only, we'll see if at the stripe, that's going to be coming down to 0.1 of a second. And Chris Gones is just stalking Joshua Moore in the corners. They run the exact same line. That gets a little bit of dirty air on the front nose of Chris Gones. Now the question is, will Chris Gones try to make the pass, or he's going to make be patient here, try to save some gas, save some Goodyear tire, and just ride behind him. But as I say that, he dials up the low lane, takes the nose underneath that race car there. They're going to be side by side just for a moment, coming down the front straightaway. They're still side by side down the front straightaway.
Let's have a look on board Chris Gomes. This is what he sees battling for the lead. You're going to have Joshua Moore just off to his right. Chris Gomes all the way down at the bottom, and you can hear him playing with the throttle fans. Josh Moore gets that great run down the backstretch from the high side. Chris Gomes going to take it right down to the bottom. You are on board for the battle for the lead.
And Joshua Moore gets up to the outside retaining wall just a little bit. That's going to kill all the momentum that he had on the top side. Give the lead to Chris Gomes now. He's going to run away just a little bit because all the momentum has been lost on Joshua Moore. Now the question is, how hard did he hit that right side of that Chevy Camaro on the safer barrier? We'll see if he can recoup and regenerate that run that he can get. He's not going to be scared. Oh, we'll go back to it on the middle line. But a hard hit for Joshua Moore.
Yeah, that's a pretty good lick. I'm not as worried about watching that. I'm not as worried about the hit on the outside retaining wall. What I'm more worried about is the slide he took down the front stretch at speed. And the reason I say that is the rear tires on that 18 Chevrolet are not going to enjoy having been slid like that. We're coming up on lap 30, and so we probably ought to pay some bills, Kendale. What do you say?
You got to pay him.
We got to pay him, and Joshua Moore just blinked out. So all kinds of issues now for Joshua Moore. He has suffered a connection issue, no longer visible on the speedway. That's going to put Chris Gomes in the lead handily, 1.2 seconds over Michael Bennett. Alfie Sharon Jr. third, Matt Sisler fourth. Nick Biddy is going to round out your top five. You can accelerate your business with Track Bar Media, tailored for small business owners. We craft dynamic social media content, custom iRacing videos, and unique merch with no minimums. Maximize your reach with our national billboard placement and meet our elite Track Bar Motorsports esports team, Track Bar Media. Affordable, impactful, and fast. Race on over to Track Bar Media, www.trackbarmedia.net now to learn more. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Beadle's Custom Car Carriers. They create 1/64th scale model car carriers, and they also make all of their kits in-house. They can make cars or trucks to your specs. Check them out. That's Beadle's Custom Car Carriers on Facebook and at Beadle's on Instagram. Also, I'd like to call out Davidson Builders, LLC. That's Cape May County, New Jersey. Davidson Builders is a beacon of excellence in Cape May County and stands as a testament to family values and military dedication. As a veteran-owned and operated general contractor and remodeler with over 25 years of unmatched experience, we marry quality with affordability. From tailored customizations to expert craftsmanship, we paint dreams into reality across residential and commercial landscapes. Check them out. That's www.davidsonbuilders.com. And then finally, a word from our title sponsor. Hey, Num Thumbs racing fans, are you looking to upgrade your ride, whether it's your truck, car, Jeep, boat, UTV, ATV? Prospec has you covered. Locally owned and operated in Jacksonville, Florida. That's in Duval County, folks. Prospec specializes in high-quality accessories and installations that take your vehicle to the next level. From custom lighting like Underglow and rock lights to top-of-the-line sound systems and backup cameras, we've got everything you need to make your ride truly yours. At Prospec, we bring your vision to life with precision and care. Visit them today and see why they're Jacksonville's go-to source for all things automotive and beyond. Prospec, where quality meets customization. 33 laps into a scheduled 120 here at Legacy Atlanta. Chris Gomes is your leader, but we have a battle brewing. The Hornets' nest is not around Chris Gomes or Michael Bennett. They have solidified first and second. It's right back here. That's Matt Sisler now in third. You've got Alfie Sharon Jr. fourth. Caleb Sisk has gone to fourth. He's going to climb to the high side on Sisler. You've got Nick Biddy sixth. Paul Durkee is hanging tough in there in seventh. Joseph Bennett eighth. Skylar Harrod will join that battle in ninth, and just off the edge of the picture there, that's our friend Sean Roberts. He is 10th. So 3 through 10, all right in a wad, as Darrell Waltrip would say, all together on the speedway.
And I'm wondering, Matt Sisler, comfortability with his vehicle, the flammability, I should say, with his vehicle, maybe gone away just a little bit. He seems to be loose off corner exit. He was battling Caleb Sisk earlier, came loose off of turn number 4, and then when Caleb Sisk pitched him down in 1 and 2, he had another little bobble. He's holding tough right now in the P4 spot, but Nick Biddy right there behind him is looking to take that 4th spot away here on lap number 36.
Yeah, and we just showed too. Skylar Harrod got by Alfie Sharon Jr. Now, Alfie Sharon Jr. did get pretty. He got pretty free over there a couple of laps ago, and you got to wonder, did he heat those tires up? And if so, are the Goodyears very upset with the driver of the 78? Meanwhile, Caleb Sisk has gone to the head of this line. He started, if you recall, shotgun on the field. Caleb Sisk coming from the back. He is third. He's hunting down second. And he's got some daylight between himself now and Matt Sisler in 4th.
He's found something in that Chevrolet Camaro, I believe that is, going into turn number 1 and 2. He's going to take it down to the low side of the racetrack. He is trying to run down Michael Bennett. So it sounds like we may have a cycle of pit stops starting here pretty soon.
Yeah, so the two machines of Paul Durkee and Benjamin McKinnon, and they are running 7th and 12th on the speedway. And here comes Paul Durkee to pit road, and Benjamin McKinnon is going to follow. So they made it 38 laps out of a scheduled 120. And this tells me that they're going to try to divide this thing dead into thirds. And I'm going to tell you what, Kendale, they're going to come down here. They're going to put on 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, and these two are going to turn their cars into absolute rocket ships.
Yeah, the earlier you can get those Goodyear tires on, the better, but I don't know if they are, because Benjamin McKinnon, the right sides have not gone up on that Chevrolet Camaro. He's going to take fuel only in that machine here for pit stop number 1. I'm not quite sure if Paul Durkee did any tires, but if I had to guess, he did not. Only fuel only for those, I think, those 2 cars.
Yeah, it was gas only for both Durkee and for Benjamin McKinnon, and they're going to go a lap and a half down here. You see the field scream by Paul Durkee. There's the 44 of Paul Ferdiani. You see Dylan Bryant. He is 12th. He's going to blend back in just in front of Anthony Williams in the 5. Maybe not. Here comes Williams to the top side. That's Ryan Pasacco in 14th back there. And so a costly green flag stop. Now, if this plays out, they'll get that track position back, of course. But you got to figure, when Gones, Sisk, and the rest of that crew comes to pit lane here, we would anticipate, given the stop at lap 38, in about 10 to 12 more laps, my guess is those guys are going to put tires on.
Oh yeah, 100% for sure, and we've got a battle for second now. Caleb Sisk has caught Michael Bennett. He has effectively passed him right now out of turn number 4. He's going to get the 2nd spot. No challenge for Michael Bennett on the front straightaway with the momentum. Now he's going to set sail and see if he can catch the 41 machine of Chris Gones. So move Caleb Sisk up to 2nd.
Yeah, Sisk, again, the charge from the back. He got around Michael Bennett. He goes to 2nd in the 006 machine. Sisk speed shops on the side. Very good looking car. His last lap, 33. 8:29. He was a half a second quicker than Chris Gones, so he is going to be coming in a hurry. This time by Gones 34.369. Caleb Sisk a little bit slower. That's more down, I think, to 34.370 for Gones, 33.803. So Caleb Sisk is definitely coming. Keep an eye on the 006. He's going to be at the leader here very, very shortly. Would kind of want to like to go through the field and just kind of give everybody a status report as we approach the first round of green flag stops. That's Chris Gones, your leader. He is the number 41. Give everybody a closer look at that Chevrolet Camaro. There's the Sisk Speed Shop machine in 2nd. That's the 006 for Caleb Sisk. 3rd, Michael Bennett, My Laps. Number 64 Chevrolet Camaro. Nick Biddy in the 32. He'll run 4th. That's the G&G Marine machine. Skylar Harrod, he's 5th in the Skunkworks Graphics.com Toyota Supra. 6th, last week's winner Matt Sisler. That's the Birdies Toyota. He's been around or near or in the top 5 pretty much all day long so far. Alfie Sharon Jr. trying to rebound from a tough week last week. TrackBarMedia.net on the side of his Chevrolet Camaro. Nice looking chrome number 78 for Alfie Sharon Jr. Joseph Bennett in the 00 Prospec Custom Accessories Toyota Supra. Joe runs 8th. Good solid run for him. 9th, Sean Roberts in the number 33, not Paul Walker Toyota Supra, that is painted pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The 51 of Chris Klein, he'll run 9th. Snap-on Tools on the side of that Toyota. And 10th, that is the very familiar to us by now, that is the Chrome Superman Pepsi number 8 Toyota Supra. That's Dylan Bryant. 11th, Anthony Williams, and he's in a battle for 11th with Paul Ferdiani in the 44 World Poker Tour machine to his outside. Butler Brothers sponsor on the Ford Mustang for Anthony Williams. You see Paul Ferdiani in the background there. Ryan Pasacco, he runs 13th for Wheelan. 14th, Thomas Welch. That is Mountain Dew Food City on the side of the number 9, reminiscent of a Dale Earnhardt Jr. paint scheme from way back when. Tom Barish in the 55 NTG machine. He is 15th. That's a lot of 5s for Tom Barish this evening. 16th is Scott Milner. He's in the 31. You know, I figured out what this was, Kendale. And I got to say, I figured out what this was. This is a Mark Martin throwback. It's got the Mark Martin logos on it. But this actually is a color scheme that was run by Al Unser Jr. in 1991 for his one and only shot at the Daytona 500. And it's a very rare paint scheme to see the gold, red, and blue Valvoline car, because he wrecked it in the 125, had to run Kenny Schrader's backup in the race, and they didn't have, that was back when cars were painted, not wrapped, and they only painted one of the Valvoline cars, so you very rarely see it. But if you can find Al Unser Jr. from the 1991 Daytona 500, it is gold, red, and blue, just like the Scott Milner car is here this evening. Paul Durkee has made his pit stop. We've shown him quite a bit tonight. Paul is 9 laps into his current run. He is 16th. Brandon Coleman, 17th after an early incident. He runs 1 lap down. Durkee leads the cars 1 lap down. Benjamin McKinnon also on that alternate strategy. He is 18th. Paul Ferdiani has just stopped, so put him back down to 19th. Jesse Redding, the number 21 TrackBarMedia.net machine, is 2 laps down after some early trouble, and he's coming to pit lane. Joshua Moore, unfortunate disconnection while leading the event. He is 3 laps down. Michael Bennett has either disconnected or blinked out. He is 4 laps in arrears. And shotgun on the field, that's Mike Carrevu. He also had a disconnection issue. He is 4 laps down, although he does move past Michael Bennett, so no longer 23rd and last. And we are approaching green flag pit stops. Caleb Sisk has opened up a 2-lap advantage, but the action is back in this bunch. That is Sean Roberts in 5th, back to about Alfie Sharon Jr. We've got cars coming to pit lane all over the speedway. Chris Gones has stopped from the lead, and he has put 4 fresh Goodyear tires on that car. He is coming back out to start his second run. So let's have a look at the speed for Chris Gones.
Also, I want to point out before you do that, Brandon Coleman also down pit road. He had trouble coming down to pit road. He spun that Chevrolet Camaro, hit the inside retaining wall. Also trouble for the 21 of Jesse Redding. He get caught speeding on pit lane entering, that is. So he'll have to serve a penalty.
Yeah, let's take a look at what happened to Brandon Coleman here. This is really easy to do. When the car is very light, you get a little bit too much brake bias in it. That rearward bias, you do that to stop the front from sliding, but it does want to kick the car loose. And that is a very difficult pit lane to get on and to get off of. There's quite a bit of a bump and a transition, and there's a lot of bumps on the bottom here anyway. And just a slide in and a kiss of the fence for Brandon Coleman. But he now runs 19th. Green flag pit stops do continue. We'll go to Paul Durkee because Durkee leads the cars 1 lap down. Caleb Sisk has hit pit road. Durkee would figure to be the leader once all of this shakes out.
Okay, Sean Roberts also down the pit lane. He's currently getting service to his Toyota Supra, 4 fresh Goodyear tires. He's off and away. But right now, we can score the leader, Dylan Bryant, in that Pepsi Superman machine.
Yeah, and let's go on board with Dylan Bryant, and let's just kind of give our viewers a sense of what it's like. Dylan Bryant is saving the mess out of some fuel, though. He had the car shut off just then. If you saw that, Ken Dale.
No, I did not. So a little bit of fuel saving involved now. So they also got a fuel number in mind. It looks like maybe Dylan Bryant is going to take his Toyota Supra down to the pit lane to get some service. A nice clean entry to the pit lane. Hopefully he doesn't speed. He's good on the cone here. So he's bringing it down to the pit lane to the service of his crew. Most likely for Goodyear tires. Gosh.
Yeah, and this would leave him with 67 laps to the end. So Dylan Bryant gave it a good show. Don't know that he's going to be able to make it to the end without stopping again. He's going to most assuredly have to come back. But much longer on the run for Dylan Bryant. That's going to hand the lead back to Chris Goins. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of Caleb Sisk. Bryant is coming off a pit lane. He gets past. And the move paid off for Paul Durkee. So he stays out. He gets the track position. He's able to hold his own inside the top 10. When pit stops shake out, he does not get tires. But what he does have is third place on the speedway. What he also has is an angry swarm of cars on new tires behind him. And they are a second and a half a lap quicker than Paul Durkee.
Yeah, they look like they're racing on the super speedway, the new version of Atlanta. How far they are in line, 4 or 5 rows deep in a line, drafting to Paul Durkee. Matt Sizzler, he's going to blow his doors off. And so is the rest of that field, and Paul Durkee just left on the high side. Can't really do much against the Hornets like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals where Paul Durkee is racing the speedway right now. He's not racing these cars. He knows they're a lot quicker. Just go on ahead by me. Don't beat on my car. Don't put any of us in a bad position. I know I'm slower. Go on ahead. He's banking on. My guess is he's banking on running this thing backwards, and so Paul Durkee is saying, okay, I'm inside of, I'm going to run 2 stints of 30 here to end the thing, or whatever his plan is, right? We're not going to see 2 full fuel runs for Paul here. My guess is we're going to see him get tires, come back as soon as those are used up, 15, 20 laps, and get another set would be my guess. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah, it would definitely sound reasonable for him, and he's going to fall back to the 10th spot. So banking on that strategy, whatever strategy that is, to work to get him back up. But also, not a bad day for him right now, sitting in the 10th spot. But that World Perkin machine, he's going to take it over to the inside. He's going to take the 10th spot away, so he's going to fall out of the top 10 now. But banking on that, whatever strategy he has to rebound from this 11th spot. Absolutely.
That S4 guy says Matt Goins for president. There is the candidate right there. 7/8 of a second ahead of Caleb Sisk for the lead. Sisk has closed that down. It was about 1.3 seconds when they came off of the pit lane. And then you've got to go from these two. So they're now within a second of each other. You've got to go back 9 seconds to Nick Biddy, Matt Sizzler, Skylar Harrod, this whole crew here. Alfie Sharon Jr., that is 3rd through 7th, and they are under a blanket.
They're side by side, definitely using the good on the Goodyear tires right now, as we see Matt Sizzler and Skylar Harrod battle it out in turn number 3. Big drive into the corner for Skylar Harrod. He's going to get alongside Nick Biddy and clear of Matt Sizzler. But maybe a hand out the window for the 13 machine now, as well as I'm hearing over the in-race communications. So another cycle of pit stops, and like you said, Mark, those drivers putting it to 3rd as we're on lap number 60.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much established everybody is going to have 2 more stops from here. So, or they were going to have 2 stops from where they were. Paul Durkee knows they're going to have 2 stops, but he also knows he's got 1 extra set of tires. And we've seen just what new tires, he just saw what new tires were worth. He just saw what new tires are worth. Do want to kind of go back and follow up on Dylan Bryant. He is 10th, and I'm interested to see, Kendale, is he still saving fuel? Let's go back on board with the number 8 Superman Pepsi Supra. Is he
And just going back to say, battle for the race lead. Caleb Siski's going to get around Chris Gones in turn number 1 and 2. I was just cycling through the field. Caleb Sisk, the first spot. Sorry, Chris Gones back down to second. Sorry for interrupting you there, but a battle for the lead.
Yeah, no worries. So the fuel games, by the way, are still being played by the number 8 of Dylan Bryant. He did have the car shut off going through turns 1 and 2 that last time through. Chris Gones has been demoted to vice president on the speedway. He'll be second. Caleb Sisk is taking the lead, and they're in something that they haven't been all day, and that is traffic.
Yeah, the leaders now catching up to traffic. First on the hit list is Ryan Pasoko in that number 2 machine. He's going to pull that Chevy Camaro down to the inside to let Caleb Sisk around, and now he's going to get up onto that beautiful gold Toyota Supra. Gotta say, that's probably the best paint scheme right now on the racetrack. That's on the hit list for Caleb Sisk. He's going to generate not a second lead in Chris Gones.
Yeah, it just starts to pull away, and that's what happens in traffic when you get going like that. We're watching Gones and Sisk work through traffic. That's the 31 of Scott Milner, and you're now getting up into some fast cars. So Scott Milner's not having a bad day. He is 13th. He's not going slow out there. He's not going slow out there, fans. He's 13th. He's on the fringes of the top 10. They're going to put Scotty Milner a lap down.
Yeah, that's going to generate some clean air. He's going to have to go to Paul Durkee, which he's on 4 fresh Goodyear tires, so he's going to be pulling away from Caleb Sisk most likely. So some fresh air for Caleb Sisk, as Chris Gones has yet to make the pass on that 31 machine. But these top 2 have pulled away by, can you believe it, 10 seconds.
Yeah, they're way out there. It's 8.8 seconds between Nick Biddy in third and Chris Gones in second. Do want to kind of circle back to Paul Durkee, because him and Benjamin McKinnon did stop together. They're both employing the off strategy. Last time through, Paul Durkee 32.316. Last time through for Caleb Sisk 33.066. Now here's the thing with that. He is on the tail end of 1 lap down, so he is nearly 2 laps in arrears. Benjamin McKinnon, his cohort in the 12, he is 2 laps down. McKinnon also 33.023, so he's slightly faster than leader Caleb Sisk, not by much. But Paul Durkee is getting after it. He knows he has to make 1 more stop. He also knows that for the balance of this run, he's going to be a second faster than the leaders.
And also, you got to begs the question is, how much is he saving any Goodyear on that machine as he's on the off strategy? I would say probably not. He has to stay this 1 lap down and try to get that lap back some way possible. But what next stop will be? He's going to continue this. Would be around lap 90 or so. So that will put him pretty comfortable spot to the end where he can just run those Goodyear tires to the full extent. Yeah,
compare and contrast what you're seeing on the screen with Paul Durkee as opposed to what we saw with Dylan Bryant saving tires. Paul Durkee hard in the throttle. He's on the chip going down the front straight through the double dog leg. It gets down to about 7,000 RPMs here, right straight to the bottom of the speedway, right out to the wall. I don't think Dylan Bryant's car crested 7,000 RPM going down the back. And here's Paul Durkee's on the chip. So Paul is definitely getting after it. He is 0.7 of a second a lap faster that time through over the leader, Caleb Sisk, and it's just a matter of can he catch him. Meanwhile, let's go back and take a look at this. That's Biddy in third, Herod fourth, Sean Roberts fifth, Matt Sisler sixth. That is 4 under a blanket right there. And it is by far and away the closest battle on the speedway.
Yeah, they've been battling it out, especially Sean Roberts. He's been trying to dial up that high side. He's actually hit the safer retaining wall a couple of times and about spun it on the front straightaway earlier. But he rides in the 5th spot. Not a lot of damage to that Toyota Supra. But now things have sort of calmed down for the meantime as they're all kind of single file for 3rd through 6th. So Alfred Jr. is a little bit down. He's kind of lost taps of that pack there. But everything's sort of calming down right now. It's probably saving those good tires.
Yeah, and it gets like that sometimes when you've got 23, 24, 25 cars at a speedway like this. The middle of the race, and Matt Sisler, he was loose going. He was wrecking loose going in a straight line down the back straightaway. But when you see a field that's shorter, right? So 25 cars, that's still a pretty good number, but it's definitely not 43. But when you see a field like this, and you've got highly skilled guys out there, and it starts to get spread out, this is where you get those long green flag runs. And this is where you get strategy coming into play. I'm going to be interested to see 21 laps out there now for Sis, 23 for Gones. Those are the two extremes. Paul Ferdiani, 25. I'm going to be interested to see what those guys do. They're going to have to be coming. They're going to have to be coming here probably within the next 15 laps. And you would think that they're going to be getting themselves some tires when they do it.
Oh yeah, 100% for sure, because that's going to put then 30 to 40 laps on this stint of tires, and if you bolt on fresh Goodyear tires, that is much preferred here on basically this cheese grater up in Atlanta Motor Speedway. Right now, Sisk leads it by just under a second lead. But Chris Gones right now is lap 25 on his stint, so the question is, does he run long and give up some of that time to Sisk if he ends up pitting early? And also the question is what they're working on fuel and everything as well. Is that's a really big determinant, is what you're working on fuel, because you kind of want to make this next stop your last stop of the night. And then also, you kind of want to make it the shortest stop, but also you kind of want to make it to where you can run the Goodyear tires out to the full extent. So a lot of decisions circling around in those heads of those drivers to when to make this final stop.
Well, and it's it's the old question: do you want to be a comer or do you want to be a goer? And at Atlanta, it's when do you want to be the comer and when do you want to be the goer, and how does that play? Do you want a short stop if you're Sisk or Gones and get the advantage and force the other guy to pass you, or do you want to run it long so you can be fastest, the longest? There is a crossover point, and there is math involved. That's why I'm not very good at it. Seb Alexander for the Indy Alliance team is the master at knowing when you stop for the 4 new tires and when you stay out. But there's calculus that's involved here. Chris Gones is on the pit lane.
Yeah, I was just about to say he's going to bring his Chevy Camaro down to the pit lane. He's going to bring it into that third box. I do not see the right signs. I do not see the left signs going up on that race car. Fuel only for the 41 machine to Chris Gones. He's off and away.
Yeah, so Chris Gones after 27 laps. To me, that's him crying uncle and saying, "I'm not going to make it on one more stop. I'm going to have to pit and get some gas and double stint the Goodyears that I've got because I can't make it." Meanwhile, Caleb Sisk continues to lead it 9.5 seconds over his nearest pursuer. That's Nick Biddy. The car that is playing the rabbit out here, that's Paul Durkee. He is still faster than the leader, but he is still the tail end of 1 lap down, and he's looking at about 0.2 a lap. And we figure that both he and Benjamin McKinnon are going to make just one more stop. But that's trouble for Chris Gones because you don't want to have to make an extra pit stop here. We figure they're going to have to make it, to at least 85 to have any kind of a chance here?
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to kind of doing the running the calculations right now, and I don't think Chris Goins can make it from here. Definitely for sure. We're 43 to go right now as we stand, and we said 45 to 50, and he almost seemed like he just barely nipped that fuel window. If that is the true numbers, just an interesting call to not to take tires. If this is his last stop, so that's what makes me believe this is not his last stop. He still has one stop in mind. But also begs the question, he could be saving that last Goodyear set for a green flag or a overtime
caution
finish.
flag.
But I mean, also begs the question is we've only had one caution in this entire event, and that was what, we're at 13, and we've been green ever since. So a lot of questions to circle around, and I guess we had to wait until the end to find out how this all shakes out.
Absolutely. Back to this battle, Sean Roberts, Matt Sizzler, they are together. This group has kind of separated. Nick Biddy has assumed second place. He's got Skylar Herod right behind him in third. So this battle is now second, third, and fourth. Second, third, fourth, and fifth, as opposed to third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, because, of course, Chris Goins has made his pit stop. Goins goes a lap down. My thought is, could Chris Goins be playing this kind of cagey and thinking, one, he can make it from here, but also thinking, you know, if there's a caution with 10 laps to go, I'm going to be sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah, you get the caution out, you're the only car with a set of Goodyear tires, you're going to be the fastest one on the racetrack.
We got Benjamin McKinnon in the wall, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good, you're good. Like, he's sitting right there on the tail end of the lead lap. Well, sorry, he's one lap down to Caleb Sisk, and he's running 2 to 3 tenths faster than Caleb Sisk as it stands right now. So Goodyear saving for that 41 earlier on. The question is, can he catch up to Caleb Sisk entering turn number 3 now? He's just now, I believe, entering turn number 3 as Sisk's in 4. Can he catch him and unlap himself? That is going to be the deal breaker, I believe, for Chris Goins to win this race. But I believe Alfred Sharon Jr. just went one lap down, so I'm wondering if he came down. He did come down the pit lane.
Yeah, he did. Alfie Sharon Jr. Just pitted. We're on board. We're looking at what you would see if you were in the helmet of Chris Goins, and that speck up there, that orange and silver and carbon fiber looking thing that you see just out the front window, that is Caleb Sisk. Chris Goins, 33,781 last time. Caleb Sisk, 33,739 this time. But you can hear audibly the struggle that's going on inside the number 41 machine. He is pedaling that baby for all it's worth. And good for Chris. I mean, you know, to me it might be worth a gamble here. Look, if the caution comes out now, you're the lucky dog. When Sisk pits, he's going to be on the lead lap. And if it's gone all the way through the cycle, you're the only one left.
Trouble in the pit entry. Paul Fernandari, the 44, he spins it down the pit lane. He gets it back collected. He's going to bring that machine back and continue his cycle down the pit lane. He was coming down the pit lane to make his stop, and he locked him up, and a big save for him. That could have been disastrous for his race, but he's going to safely bring it into his pit box. Yeah,
he looked like he was applying for Formula D there. Paul Ferdy, and he gets it sideways, gets it on pit lane. You got to be careful he didn't speed there. He does save the number 44. No caution is going to be triggered because it's on the pit lane. But Paul Ferdiani is...
And Paul Fernandari did get a penalty speeding on the pit lane for that 44 machine, so a deal breaker for that.
Absolutely. Now here comes Caleb Sisk. He is on the pit lane. The right sides have gone up on the 006, and so Caleb Sisk is in for his final set on the pit lane, lap 86 of 120 complete. Caleb Sisk has got his 4 tires. He is down and away. You see others sliding in behind him. Joseph Bennett. You're looking at the Snap-on car. That's Chris Klein, also on the pit road. Sisk going to go back out. That's going to hand the lead over to Matt Sizzler, and look who is just behind Sizzler. That's Dylan Bryant. He has worked his way up to second on this long run, and he is only 0.8 of a second behind Matt Sisler. So give a call out to Dylan Bryant. He's run it long all day. Dylan Bryant now second, looking at the leader, and he is 0.3 a lap, that last lap quicker than the leader. We're going to go on board, and we're going to see, is the 8 still saving fuel? Is it going to be an economy run, Kendall? The number 8 is off. Going into turn 1, Milner, Welch, Herod, they are all on the pit road. Ryan Pasacco coming off of pit road. Tom Barish, he is due in. Ferdiani is finally back out. Wholesale pit stops here. But Matt Sisler in there. You see Sisler, he's going to come in. Dylan Bryant going to take it around one more time. 35 laps on the current run.
And pit lane continues to be a troublesome spot for some of these drivers. Skylar Herod busted for speeding on pit road entering pit entry, so he had to serve his penalty on his pit stop there. So that's going to be another big mistake for one of these drivers. That's going to put him 2, maybe 3 laps down.
Yeah, he's going to go to the tail end of 2 laps down. 53.7 seconds in the box. Not what you want to see. Heartbreak for Skylar Herod after he'd run well inside the top 5 for most of the event. We're watching the leader, Dylan Bryant. He has 19 seconds in hand over Caleb Sisk. He is 1.7 seconds slower than the 006, but he is putting time in the bank for his last set of tires. And you got to think maybe he's thinking, well, heck, maybe there'll be a caution come out. Somebody spins it out on pit road. They slide it up the racetrack. Caution comes out. Nick Biddy gets the lucky dog, and there's only 4 cars left on the lead lap. I got the freshest tires. That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll have to see this next time by under Dylan Bryant and Caleb Sisk. Depth separation down 20 seconds. Caleb Sisk, of course, on those fresh Goodyear tires. We'll see if Dylan Bryant can make it to the end, but he is slowing on the back straightaway, letting all these cars by. It makes me think he's more to come down to the pit lane.
Yeah, he's on 37 laps, Kendall. He's going to be coming to pit road, and we're watching the 8 to see, is he going to make that left-hand turn? Dylan Bryant does. He's going to hit the cone nice and safe. Good job there for Dylan. He'll come down pit road. He'll get his 4 fresh tires, and immediately in behind him, that is our alternate strategy car of Paul Durkee. He is also on the pit lane. He went in even 30 laps, and he's going to come get himself some freshies too.
Yeah, so that's going to cycle Caleb Sisk to the lead, so put him in the first spot. Now Chris Goins to second. Now, if you remember, Caleb Sisk, he took 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Chris Goins, on the other hand, did not. So what's the separation on that here shortly? We'll get a couple flashes by the start-finish line to see what the time difference is.
Taking a look at where Dylan Bryant comes out here. He has scored 9th on the track right now. He has not yet lost a lap, although I would anticipate that he may be very close. He's going to come up to speed, and you're going to see the 006 of Caleb Sisk. Maybe not. So Dylan Bryant stays on the lead lap with about 7 seconds to spare. Sisk is the leader. To cover that story, Chris Goins, and we'll show him here. He's up there running the high side. He's in. He's up there where people with nicknames of handsome tend to tread. He is 1.4 seconds a lap slower than Caleb Sisk. Now the question is, can Sisk make it to the end? He stopped at lap 87, so he's going to have to do 35 laps.
Yeah, right around there. I think it's very well doable because we saw some of the other guys pit with 37 lap stints, so I think he should be good.
Now that's all going to change with the caution flag, because that would put Chris Goins. That would put Chris Goins in the catbird seat. He has, as far as we know, fans, the only set of Goodyear Eagles left on that pit wall. Meanwhile, we'll go back to Sean Roberts and Nick Biddy. This is now 3rd and 4th. They are catching Chris Goins, and those two have been joined at the hip for most of the event. They've slowly worked themselves up. Biddy is going to flash under Goins. as will Sean Robertson. Caution is on the speedway. Dylan Bryant. Smoke pouring from the back of the number 8 Toyota Supra. And that is what Chris Gones wanted to see.
Yeah, and everybody's going to be pointing the fingers at you, Mark. You did say a caution flag, and that's going to bring the broadcaster's curse and continues the legacy of that. But heavy damage to that 8 machine. Very, very big heartbreak for that 8.
Yeah, and also Alfie Sharon Jr. So it appeared as though, and we'll get back to it here, but it kind of looked like maybe Alfie Sharon bounced off the wall a little bit. He's kind of slower, and yeah, he's going to get it loose. I don't know if he hit the wall, but he got it loose, came down the speedway, and just nowhere to go for a charging, freshly shod number 8 Superman Supra. Hard impact for both. They will, of course, have their fast repair. And as we've discovered, that may not be all that bad of a thing for Dylan Bryant, although he is going to be a lap down, unfortunately. But it may not be all that bad of a thing. Chris Gones, of course, he just sat up in the cockpit of the number 41 and applauded. He's going to drive down pit road. He is the only car on pit road not involved in an accident. He is going to pull into his pit box, and with glee, the right side of the number 41 Chevrolet Camaro goes up in the air. The other thing is that Bryant may be a lap down here, but he does take the fast repair, and that means he's also going to have fresh tires because you get those with a fast repair. Gones down and away. He's going to drop to 7th. Alfie Sharon Jr. will also take the fast repair. He's going to be on pit road now, hoping not to lose a lap. So we'll cover Alfie Sharon Jr.'s stop here. He also had a set of tires, and if he can maintain his position on the lead lap, we might have an interesting situation here. So there's Alfie Sharon Jr. sitting on pit lane. You can see him. Here comes the pace car. He is not going to escape the pit box. So Alfie Sharon Jr. put him one lap down. Unfortunate that he's not able to get off a pit lane. Others are coming to get their others are coming to get whatever sort of service they may need, repair some damage, as you will. 22 laps to go. We'll pick up the leader. That's Caleb Sisk. Is he messing with Elmo there a little bit?
Messing with Elmo. I missed it.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Dale Earnhardt Sr. back in the day used to go up when Elmo Langley drove the pace car. He would drive right up to the back of the pace car and give it a little love tap every so often. A much different time then. I don't think you could get away with hitting the pace car. Now, of course, I do enjoy very much when I lead the race under caution and it's on P1 broadcasting, driving my car inside the pace car, because that does fill Gary Godso with immense amounts of joy. But there you see Sisk. He's having a good time with the pace car here, and why not? Leading, coming to get lap 99 of 120. To reset it for you, Sisk, Biddy, Roberts, Klein, and Sizzler, your top 5. Joseph Bennett 6th. Gones is 7th. Anthony Williams 8th. Those are the lead lap machines. They will go to the front. Ryan Pisacco is 9th. Thomas Wells 10th. Skylar Harrod 11th. Dylan Bryant 12th. Scott Milner 13th. Those automobiles are 1 lap down. 2 laps down, Paul Durkee, Benjamin McKinnon, Alfie Sharon Jr., who is still on pit road under repair. Paul Ferdiani is 17th. So those cars are 2 laps down. 4 laps down, Jesse Redding. He is 18th. 19th, Mike Corvu, 5 laps down. Joshua Moore has disconnected. He is now 9 laps down. Tom Barish will eclipse him for 20th. So Joshua Moore will finish 21st. Brandon Coleman has also disconnected, as has Michael Bennett. He will be credited with 23rd and the final position on the night here in the Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity Atlanta 180. Coming to get 100 complete. That's 150 miles for those of you scoring at home. We've got 20 laps to go, or 30 miles, and Sisk is going to be your leader. Biddy to his outside. Green flag is up in the air.
Green, green, green.
And here we go for the final shootout. Everybody gets away clean. And I'm going to focus my camera right in on the number 41 of Chris Goins.
Yeah, 100% for sure. The Goodyear Fresh Tires, the only car on the racetrack with those Goodyear Fresh Tires. He's going to bring his machine up to the 7th spot, and it's just going to be a matter of when he can make it to the front. Caleb Sisk, of course, to the race lead. Chris Goins only has about a second. He's going to take the battle to Joseph Bennett side by side, and I mean, if Goodyear tires mean a lot, Chris Goins should flash right on by. He's going to have a little bit of trouble with Joseph Bennett. He's going to get around him, though, just, well, as I say that, nice and easily in a turn number 2.
Now, you got to remember, the other guys, right, they didn't get tires here. But what they did do was they rode around under caution for 4 or 5 laps. They got their stuff cooled off. And so usually, in iRacing at least, when you do that, you get a couple or 3 laps where they handle pretty good before they fall back off the cliff again. So they're going to be able to hang with Chris Goins for a little bit. His challenge here is going to be, yes, I know I'm much quicker. Let's not cook the new pair of boots I got on that machine, because it's only a matter of time. He's going underneath Chris Klein there. He should be able to get past Klein through 3 and 4, and then it's going to be Nick Biddy and Sean Roberts. He gets past Klein, so now it's Biddy, then Roberts. Matt Sizzler is taking it to Caleb Sisk for the lead while we watch Chris Goins carve through traffic. He just set the fastest lap of the race.
Yes, this is definitely not what Caleb Sisk wants, the battle for the race lead, and he is pinching him down on the white line. That is pinching Sizzler down to the white line, and this is not what you want to see if you're the 2 leaders battling it out, because this just gives more opportunity to Chris Goins to just cut through this field even easier to catch the leaders, and he's already up to 3rd. And we got a battle for the race lead once again right in front of Chris Goins.
Yeah, Sizzler and Sisk all over each other for that lead. Sisk has it. Sizzler wants it. Meanwhile, if I had the Jaws theme, I would play it. The 41 on the fresh tires. He's got a side-by-side battle for the lead, but he's got the best seat in the house. He's got the freshest rubber, and he is coming in a hurry. He was a full second that last time through, quicker than Sisk and Sizzler. The Killer S is in front of Chris Goins. He's going to throw it 3 wide here. Doesn't need to. Caleb Sisk doesn't quite get the run off the corner. He falls in line behind Sizzler. Goins runs the fastest lap of the race, 31.985, propels him to 2nd, Sisk the 3rd. And here he is, going to go, going to take it to Matt Sizzler, and Sizzler, almost you're fraught for choice there. Do you make him drive around you on the top? Do you make him go under you? I don't think either way it really matters. Chris Goins going to go to the lead, and that is pretty much that. It took him 6 laps, Kendall.
Yeah, so Goodyear tires obviously being a drastic of a difference. And Matt Sizzler, he just kind of has to be a sitting duck there for Chris Goins, because there's nothing he can do to really take advantage of his tires that he has. He's also kind of whipped the rears up a little bit as he kind of got lost. He's on the turn 4 battling with Sisk. Now the main objective for Sizzler, I would think, is just to keep and hold down that 2nd spot. But still a lot to show for it there. A win last week for Sizzler. Right here, another top 3 for him for the playoffs. So a good run for Sizzler. Just the short hand of the stick on the strategy.
Yeah, and we're watching now the battle for 3rd, or excuse me, 4th. That's Sean Roberts in 4th. He and Nick Biddy had gone hammer and tong for 3 or 4 laps there. Roberts finally secures the spot. So put Sean Roberts 4th. Nick Biddy bounces off the wall in 5th. Some of the freshest tires out there are on the 13 machine. That's Paul Durkee. He had short pitted, so he's on 15-lap tires, 5 of those being under yellow. So he's about 5 or 6 laps fresher than most of the front runners. Durkee looking to get back on the lead lap. If we get another caution here, he might be able to make some noise.
And speaking of getting back on the lead lap, we got a battle for the lucky dog spot. Skylar Harrod and Dylan Bryant, they're in a fierce battle trying to take that spot away from them. Not only is it a lucky dog spot, but that's also one more position to go into the playoffs. Dylan Bryant and Skylar Harrod, they're fighting for the ninth spot for number 1 and 2.
It is, and you know, I feel the pain of Joseph Bennett. He was on the outside of a 3-wide wall coming off of turn number 2. He wisely backed out of it. No reason to get crunched up. He's a lead lap car in the middle of several machines that are all 1 lap down, and they are in a scrap. They are in a titanic scrap for that final lucky dog spot. You see Dylan Bryant. He's going underneath the 51 of Chris Klein. Klein is running 6th in this race. Dylan Bryant goes to the bottom and gets past him. Skylar Harrod looking to follow suit. We've got 10 laps to go, but that's a huge deal. If one of them two can get back on the lead lap, there are only 8 cars up there. They've proven they've got the speed. Why not? Play every card in the deck.
And then they got 3 wide behind them as well, so exactly what they need to go wrong is a 3 wide situation to get that lucky dog. But they sorted out through there. But the only tough part is if you do get the lucky dog, you have to go to the tail end of the longest line. So you got to be behind all the lappers and all that sort of things. You would need another quick caution to get back to where you could gain some spots. But you might as well be in that position. How likely it is, not very. But gotta try it. Gotta, like Dylan Bryant is here in the next spot.
And we just continue to follow it. Chris Goins, 1.3 seconds over Matt Sisler. The gap to Sisk is stabilized. It's about 9/10, give or take. Same to Sean Roberts, back to 4th. Biddy, 1.3 seconds back of his nearest rival. This is the best battle on the speedway. That is Nick Biddy and Chris Klein. You've got the battle for the lucky dog all around them. You've also got, is that Mike Carvo in there? He is 5 laps in arrears. Nick Coleman, that's not Brandon Coleman, rather. That's Benjamin McKinnon. He's had some strategy not go his way, but he's also involved here. This is all over the map, and it's fairly interesting because you got some of these guys that are laps down, Kendale, that are actually pretty quick.
Yeah, it's almost like this little package, like a trail mix. You got some that are lead lap, some in the lap down. So it's an interesting assortment of cars in this little field here. It's got to be confusing as a driver too to determine which is for position and what's just a lap car and which one's faster, who to battle,
who to follow,
right?
Who do I need to block? All that's meant is Dylan Bryant has snuck away from Skylar Harrod in that battle. Meanwhile, Biddy and Chris Klein are right together, and that is the battle for the final spot in the top 5. And so we'll stick with this. The front 4, Goins, Sisler, Sisk, and Roberts, they're all separated more or less by a second to a second and a half. There's no real battle there. Biddy and Klein are the closest race on the speedway. Right behind them, Joseph Bennett and Anthony Williams are within a half a second. As we see the 9 of Thomas Welch clip the outside retaining wall. But we'll see. Can Klein get Biddy and move himself into the top 5? We've got 5 laps to go now here in Atlanta.
I'm kind of watching right now the Superman Pepsi Toyota machine of Dylan Bryant. He is cruising through the field, and I mean, it's just got to be a shame for him. If he was on the lead lap, he would be up to the 4th spot in this race. So a little bit of trouble for him earlier. As Paul Durkee's going to follow him around Sean Roberts. Durkee is 2 laps down, so not the position gain, just a little bit more, I guess, track position gain.
Yeah, and it's got to be frustrating for Dylan Bryant because, you know, up until that accident, he was definitely in contention for a top 5 finish. He's definitely got the speed. He's running the same lap times as Chris Goins. fractionally.
How about straightaway Nick Biddy? He's almost around 3 wide. It looks like
Oh, we're not done. Corbu and Klein.
What a save! Right, all these drivers waited not over. And the 51's going to say, oh my goodness! As I say that word, chaos happens.
Somehow, now we finally got Skylar Herod brings it out with 3 to go. Holy mackerel. You know, they say that Mauricio Gugelmin had the longest crash ever at the Texas Motor Speedway in the ill-fated 2001 Champ Car attempt to run the high banks. I think we may have just seen longer. Somehow, some way, everybody saved that until Skylar Herod didn't. And here's what happened to Herod. We're going to watch it from a lower angle. Now, keep in mind, all of the cars in front of him have been bouncing off each other for quite some time. And Herod gets it loose, gets up into the outside retaining wall, gets an assist on his way into the front stretch wall from the 21 of Jesse Redding. Skylar Herod will bring out the caution. And we are going to have a Kendale.
Is it NASCAR overtime?
Yes, green, white, checkered here at Atlanta. And now everybody has old tires. So,
and of course, Chris Gomes with the freshest set of tires on the racetrack. A question that comes to mind with me here is, he's up to a 3-second lead there for a while. Was he playing any saving games just in case of this green white checkered? I would think so. He would. Matt Sizzler over the in-race communications, he is very happy about this caution flag. He's going to have another shot at Chris Gones, but Gones is 23 on this stint. Sizzler 31.
well, and Sizzler had been running pretty much the same lap times toward the end of that as Chris Gones. And you got to wonder, to your point, was Chris Gones saving some tires just with the thought he had a pretty healthy lead? Was he just kind of matching the pace of Matt Sizzler, trying to save his stuff, knowing that this can happen? Matt Sizzler was most assuredly running his Toyota Supra for all it was worth. And then this does give another chance for Caleb Sisk. The 006 has been near the front or at the point for pretty much the entire event. This gives him another shot. The tire situation is pretty much equalized now. Yes, Gones still has fresher rubber, but they are not completely fresh. They've got 20 laps on them, so they've hit the plateau. It'll be interesting to see what transpires here when they do get the green white checkered. Also, Dylan Bryant, move him back to the lead lap. He's going to restart 8th here. Now he does have to go to the tail end of the longest line, so he's not going to be with the lead lap cars. But another chance granted for Dylan Bryant for sure.
And I mean, we have 3 overtime attempts here. This is going to be the first of 3. So if something goes wrong on this overtime finish, he's going to be right back up to the front of the field with all the leaders. And then as it stands right now, Thomas Welch would get the free pass if another caution flag were to fly. So one step in the right direction for the 8, though, right now.
Absolutely, just kind of looking out. If you were sitting in the Turn 3 grandstand here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, back in the old configuration, this is what you would see coming down the back. Of course, you can still see the terrace from the old main grandstand there. When I was here, they had started building this out, Kendale, but it wasn't. It took them a long time to do it. So I was there in the spring of 1991, and they had already started moving the earth on the backstretch in order to accommodate this layout. We sat on the front stretch. It was a covered grandstand back then, and I remember that was handy because it rained. We had to stay till Monday. Dale Earnhardt Sr. wound up taking the win, if memory serves. The other thing is that most people don't realize, so they call it the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This track is almost halfway between Atlanta and Macon. It is It is in a town called Hampton, Georgia, which is not really close to Atlanta. I mean, the sprawl has gotten there. Heck, the Atlanta sprawl now gets to Macon. But up until a few years ago, it was not really all that close to Atlanta itself, or what you would think of as Atlanta. It's in a pretty rural area, just off of the interstate.
Yeah, it seems like it could be a common theme with a lot of NASCAR tracks, like the Nashville Super Speedway. It's about, when I went there last year, it's about 45 minutes from downtown Nashville. So there's a lot of other tracks around the nation are like that, and it's pretty interesting how they get their name. Well, I mean, not really interesting how they get their name, but it's pretty interesting how far away they are from the actual city.
Yeah, I mean, the only urban racetrack there is, as we get back to Go to Green, that isn't a street course, is Indianapolis, which is pretty much in the middle of the city. Barney's got the green flag in the air, and here we go. First attempt at a green-white checker. Chris Gones is going to lead away. Matt Sisler, Caleb Sisk. We've got some contact in the back. That's Thomas Welch. But Gones makes the break, and he has a rearview mirror full of Caleb Sisk.
Yeah, he has a rear full, but behind them got a battle for third, Nick Biddy and Matt Sisler. Matt Sisler had a little bit of trouble on the restart. He's going to recuperate back to third. Chris Gones, he's going to retain the race lead. He's going to dial up that second lane as Caleb Sisk is going to try to get it nose in fresh air, but one lap to go here. This race is now officially official. It
is officially official. Caleb Sisk, if you were watching that, he had the rear end of that 006 Camaro way the heck out of shape, coming off of turn number 2 the last time. He's drifting it coming off the corner here again too. Any way he can. 0.2 of a second is the gap. He's trying to close it, doing everything he can, but just that extra 10 laps worth of fresh tires is going to be too much. Chris Gones going to drive the number 41 Chevrolet Camaro off of turn number 4. He is going to come down, and he is going to take the win here at Legacy Atlanta. Caleb Sisk is going to be second. Matt Sisler, bottom step of the podium. 3 podiums in 3 weeks for Matt Sisler. A second, a win, and now a third. He might be the hottest driver in the series right now. Nick Biddy will be 4th. Rounding out the top 5, a great run for Sean Roberts. Chris Klein will take 6th. Joseph Bennett 7th. Anthony Williams is 8th. And Dylan Bryant will be 9th. He recovers to 9th. Final car on the lead lap. Ryan Pasacco is going to round out your top 10, and we'll see here what Chris Gones decides to do here at the end of 180 miles at Atlanta. Is he going to burn him down? Is he going to park it? I think he's going to use what is left. So the final results here from Atlanta are thus. Chris Gones, he leads 49 laps. That is the most. He has the fastest lap. He makes up one spot from the outside pole. He'll win the event. Caleb Sisk is going to be second. He drove up 17 spots, not the hard charger. He led 39 laps. Matt Sisler, round out your podium. Nick Biddy, he is the hard charger. Biddy started 1 spot behind Gones. He picks up 18 positions on the day, and he did lead a lap. Sean Roberts rounds out your top 5. An uneventful day for Roberts. He started 6th. He finishes 5th. He also led a lap. Chris Klein 6th. Joseph Bennett 7th. Anthony Williams 8th. Dylan Bryant is 9th. Ryan Pasacco is going to be 10th. In 11th, Scott Milner. Thomas Welch is going to be 12th. Is going to be scored 12th. Paul Durkee 13th. Benjamin McKinnon 14th. Paul Ferdiani, good run for him. He was up there near the front. Had some misfortune in the pit lane. He'll come home 15th. Skylar Harrod, late race misfortunes bring him home 16th. He was looking strong for a top 5. Jesse Redding 17th after early trouble. Mike Carreau unfortunately disconnected. Alfie Sharon Jr. will be 19th. Tom Barish is 20th. These cars did not finish. Joshua Moore 21st. Brandon Coleman 22nd. And Michael Bennett will round out the field. Shotgun and last, 23rd on the day for Michael Bennett. Let's get some replays queued up here, and we'll start bringing guys into the P1 broadcasting booth for interviews here. I appreciate everybody's patience. We're having a bit of an issue with our camera here. I'm going to try to get Matt Sizzler queued up. He has definitely earned the right to have his car shown, but I don't think it's going to work, Kendale, unfortunately.
The technical bug has jumped from Joshua Moore's car to your computer.
That's very true. But let's go ahead and get Matt Sizzler up here into the P1 broadcasting booth. He's definitely earned the privilege. Matt Sizzler comes home in third position. And there he is. Matt Sizzler, Mark Murphy, Kendale Paul in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do, guys. How are you?
Well, I tell you what, we for whatever reason, it's not letting us do the flyby interview. So we're gonna have to go without a picture of your car. But I tell you what, we can picture is you moving into a nice spot in the championship. 3 weeks, 3 podiums. Tell us about your day.
I mean, that track was definitely very slick in the Three Birdies Supra. You guys saw that on the opening start of the race when I fishtailed with brand new tires. I didn't expect that, and then had to slow up to avoid. I think it was Jesse Redding going around off 4, and he saved it. So, dodging a minefield, and then we had that early caution. It looked like things were going to play out. I was saving fuel, like trying to either get a short pit stop, or the last time it was just so I would be on the freshest tires right at the end, and really thought we had a good run at it. And then when the caution came out, it was like, well, I think I've got something. And then Caleb said, Chris has new tires. And I was like, and that's why basically off the start, I gave everything I had to get Caleb, but like the 41 on, 20 lap newer tires. I mean, that's just unbelievable luck. But for us to come home P3 in the Three Birdies Supra, it's a great result. Obviously, to qualify as well as we did, be up front, lead laps, and just really wish that last caution hadn't come out, because we had Caleb covered by about a second and a half. I think we weren't going to be any threat to the 41. And then the caution comes out, and I knew just the restart on old tires was going to be a problem. And sure enough, didn't get the launch I needed, and had to fight Biddy off. And by the time I cleared him, I just had to settle for third.
Very good, and thank you for that, Matt. Kendale, any questions for Matt Sizzler this evening?
He kind of hit on all my points during the race, but I guess I'll ask this question again to you, Matt Sizzler. Like Mark said, you finished podium in the last 3 races. How do you keep that going for Iowa, Las Vegas, and Talladega to finish off the playoffs?
Well, Talladega, it's just survive first. That's it at Talladega, isn't it? It's just keep yourself in position and try to survive. Going to Iowa's one of my best tracks. Lone Star Truck Series, when they were operating, went there. I managed to hold off Caleb and win that one. So I love Iowa. It's where I had my first official win in iRacing in the old ARCA car. So Iowa should be a lot of fun. And then Vegas, I don't know if we're under the lights or during the day. That's going to kind of just change how the cars drive a little. But Vegas is another one of my favorite tracks. So just keep doing what we're doing. We have great momentum as a team. Just have to stay up front and keep ourselves out of the trouble. And if we can do that, we should be a threat to make the championship race at Homestead.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight again. Congratulations on your 3rd consecutive podium. Friends, family, sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to today, the floor is yours, Mr. Matt.
All right. I appreciate it. Well, first off, I'll start with you guys, because you guys do a great job on your broadcasts. My paint designer, Lil Hooper Designs, again, a beautiful Three Birdies car. Almost thought we were going to get 2 for 2 there with that move on Caleb to get the lead, but it is what it is. It's a good enough run, anyways. Three Birdies Golf Company, obviously our sponsor. They're still running the Carolina Classic thing, so if y'all go to threebirdiesgolf.com, they're still selling some pretty good apparel for $15, and half the proceeds go to Hurricane Helene relief funds. Everybody at NTRL, Derek, and all the admins who put it on here for for putting the league on. And just give a shout out to Chris because that is incredible strategy to pull that off. It's frustrating. It certainly is frustrating. I'm sure you guys probably heard the in-race chatter, but he did what we didn't, and he got the win for it. So good job on his part.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, congratulations nonetheless. 3 podiums, 3 races. I believe that this might catapult you into the points lead at the end of the day, and so, or it's going to be awfully close with Caleb. So, good job to you, and we will see you next week at Iowa.
Sounds good, guys. You take care. I'll see you then.
Absolutely. That is Matt Sisler. He runs 3rd here today at Atlanta. We'll go ahead and bring up Caleb Sisk, 2nd place man here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The old bumpy version today, Caleb. Would you rather this one or the new super speedway, the new mini super speedway?
I'd much rather race this one. I think this one takes skill. The new one, it's just more about survival and having a couple friends at the end. This one is way more fun to drive.
Well, I'll tell you what, you showed some tremendous skill, especially in the closing stage of the race. I thought that you were auditioning for Formula D coming off of the turn 4 a couple of times. So you definitely had the car hung out trying to catch Chris. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, starting shotgun on the field, dead last, so got to do a little passing and driving through the field, which was a lot of fun. Everybody was super respectful there early, and nobody was pretty crazy. Some good racing. Managed to drive to the lead on those old tires, and then out of the pit cycle, I let Chris undercut me a couple laps, but I really just had a certain number I felt like I had to get to, and then went back to the lead, and then saw Chris pit at 76 and get fuel, and immediately knew that he would be the lucky dog because he was fast enough to stay there, and that if a caution did come out late in the race, he'd be on the lead lap with fresh tires, and lo and behold, it happened. So hats off for that strategy call. That's a bold call. I mean, you don't get that yellow, you lose. I think I had a 10 to 12 second lead there most of the end of the race, and just another one that gets taken away, and that's okay. I mean, we're happy with the P2. Only the top 15 advance, so it doesn't matter if you win, or finish second a couple of times. So,
yeah,
trying my best to dominate here, but I really can't do it. I'm just an average top 5 car.
Well, you've averaged top 5 card your way to what I believe is going to be the points lead after this one. You and Sisler were tied at 10:51 apiece. You did lead the most laps. You did have the fastest lap. Well, no, I take it back. Goins led the most laps and had the fastest lap, but you finished 1 position ahead of Sisler. Goins is 9 points in arrears, so I don't think he's going to have enough steam to get to you. So you're going to have the points lead going into Iowa when things reset for the top 15. So kudos to you for that. Kendale, any questions for Caleb Sisk?
We saw you driving on the back bumper of Chris Goins on that final green-white checkered. Is there anything you could have done differently or anything? I know it's really hard to try to compete with 20 lap old tires, but was there anything in the playbook for that 006?
I heavily debated giving him the bumper and shoving him up the racetrack. As loose as we are to be quick, you got to be confident on the right rear. I knew if I'd have hit him that he wouldn't wreck, and I could just shove him up a couple lanes, and it probably would have brought second, or what would have been second, Matt Sisler and Nick Biddy into play on his underside, and might would have got me the checkers. But I've raced Chris in Lone Star, I've raced him here, I've raced his teammates, and we'll bump each other and lean on each other a little bit. But I didn't feel like it was in good taste tonight. I mean, he ran a good race, so it's no shame in being second. Super proud of my teammates there on that long run before the yellow came out. We were 1, 2, 3, and then had a pit road issue with one of the cars, and we were still 1, 2. So good, strong night for this speed shop. I really can't complain too much. We'll take this P2 and we'll keep it moving to Iowa.
Absolutely. Well, great job tonight, Caleb. My apologies. Great job tonight. You got any friends, family, sponsors? You kind of hit on it a little bit, but the floor is yours. Shout out to whomever you like.
Now, just again, one more time, Sis Speed Shop. We're doing We're giving lessons a couple nights a week now. It's working out pretty good for a lot of folks. So if you're interested, hit me up. Big shout out to the team. Strong runs tonight. We all three started in the back. We all three drove to the front. Super proud. A lot of hard work. Those guys are improving, and the proof's in the pudding. It showed tonight. And then NTRL, man, the admins, they have a tough job. They give out penalties for every yellow, so it's a hard deal. Sometimes it sucks when it's you. And last week I finished the race with a 0x, got a penalty, but here I sit in the broadcasting business. So you can do it. Just take it in stride and keep it moving. And we'll see you guys next week, we hope.
Absolutely. We'll definitely see you next week, Caleb. Great run tonight. That's Caleb Sisk, P2 from the Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway. And now for the winner, I suppose I should call you Mr. President. We called you Mr. Vice President at one point in the race when you got passed for the lead. But you're back to El Presidente, Chris Gones, the winner here at Atlanta. What was the thought process behind taking gas only on the second to last stop to save the tires?
Well, the whole beginning part of the season, it's felt like it's been me and Caleb and a few other guys, Derek and a couple other guys that have run kind of up front, and then we get, for lack of a better term, screwed on a late race caution with somebody having a set of tires left, or us getting trapped a lap down and having to come from the back after pitting and stuff. So I told myself I was gonna try it. Me and Caleb had a big enough lead on third. I think we were like 9 seconds ahead at one point that, if I did come out and they had newer tires, then I had some laps of buffer just in case caution did come out. It was starting to worry me a little bit that it wasn't, but I figured at the end of it all, if it didn't come out, I mean there was like 7 or 8 cars on the lead lap, so I figured the worst I would finish was hopefully 7th or 8th. So I was just going to take a chance, and luckily the cards were on our side this time.
Absolutely. Kendale, anything for our winner this evening?
Yeah, kind of asking the similar question to Matt Sizzler. You get the win here, getting a lot of momentum going into the round of 15 and the rest of the playoffs. How do you keep the ball rolling for the rest of the playoffs?
That takes a lot of pressure off of Iowa. That short track can be short track for the most part is it can be a little tricky. I wouldn't call it a wild card by any means, but anything could happen there. So it's nice to be able to kind of get settled in to be able to not have to have all that pressure for that race. And then Las Vegas, I feel pretty confident. Talladega, it's a simple wild card. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. So, just being able to focus on that round of 15 is going to be nice, and not have to worry too much about, Iowa, even though we're going to go out there and run hard and try to get that win, but it just takes the pressure off. So usually taking the pressure off, it makes it a little bit more relaxed, which usually ends up with a better finish.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on making the alternate strategy work. You are the winner. You're in victory lane. The floor is yours, Mr. Gones, Mr. President. Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. Anything that you'd like to say, go for it.
Yeah, all my guys over at Track Bar Motorsport, guys that are in this league and the guys that aren't, we always practice together no matter what we're running. So get a good handle on things. Want to thank you guys here at P1. So I always love to go back and watch them, watch the broadcast afterwards. All the guys at NTRL, DW and Mark and Joe Bennett, everybody that's been adminning, especially stepping up with DW's new schedule. So Eric Dotson's State Farm Agency, Track Bar Media, that S4 guy, Zach Millett on Twitch. He's not in the league, but you'll see him running tomorrow and Wednesday. First race with Blue Chew on the car, so it actually went pretty well. So we'll keep them on next week and see if we can move towards the front. And of course, Popel's still on the car as mostly the primary. But yeah, just look forward to next week, guys. I'll catch you guys then.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for stopping by. Definitely appreciate you. Congratulations on your win, and keep going fast, having fun. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
And so there you have it. My apologies in advance. For whatever reason, we weren't able to show the winning cars. I don't know if my computer's cashed out or what, but just another great race tonight that showcased drivers having to think. It was an unconventional strategy that saw Chris Goins take the flag tonight. He did something that nobody else did. He got the lucky break. He got the caution. If not for that, he might have finished off the lead lap. But he did get the caution that brought the field together. He rolled down pit road with the only set of tires available, and Chris Goins takes home the checkered flag. Great run for Matt Sisler as well. 3 podiums in 3 weeks. Goins and Caleb Sisk are going to be, I believe, within 5 points of each other as we head on to Iowa. And what fun won't that be? 7/8 of a mile, short track. It's a bigger Richmond. It is bumpy. It has about 4 different lanes that you can run in a stock car. And so we're excited and pumped up for that. Kendale, do you have any final thoughts on this one from Atlanta tonight?
Atlanta definitely showed to be a challenging track for all these drivers, and I think the big key highlight from it was pit road. That seemed to be the make or break moments for a lot of drivers, not only the strategy wise, but the execution of pit road. We saw some drivers spin down pit road. We saw drivers speed down pit road, and that can take you out of does take you out of contention of a race because you have to take that hold on the pit lane. So a lot of lessons learned for these drivers, and I mean, that's a costly mistake to make in the playoffs. So something that they're going to have to iron out for Iowa. But another not disappointing race here in NTRL. Like I said, I can't think of one race that I've been up here in the booth with you, Mark, that I've been disappointed in this league. It's been a really good series to call.
It absolutely has been. Speaking of the schedule, next week we do go to Iowa for 150 laps. That'll be in the daytime, right here live on P1, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard. Las Vegas, then Talladega, and the finale at Homestead. So 4 more weeks, 4 more chances, 3 more races in this. Next week will start a new round of playoffs, I do presume. Want to give a shout out to Gary Godso. He is on over. If you can't get enough of P1 broadcasting, he is doing the ISRA truck race this evening. Tomorrow we'll have our signature broadcast. That is the IndyCar Oval Series top split. That'll take place from the Milwaukee Mile. Can't wait to see that one. Wednesday night I will be live with the NASR votive finale. That will take place at 8 Eastern. We're off Thursday. And I believe Gary does have a series that he does Friday as well. We'll then reconvene here next Monday night, 8:10, for the NTRL Numb Thumbs Racing League Prospec Custom Accessories Xfinity Championship. For Kendall Paul, I'm Mark Murphy. I'd like to thank all the first responders, police, fire, EMT, all the people that do the hard work at night so that we can put our heads down on the pillow and sleep solidly at night. Got to thank the military and all the work that they do out there to keep us safe. Once again, Mark Murphy for Kendall Paul, P1 Broadcasting, signing off from the Atlanta Motor Speedway.